and welcome to GDPR for Business information session. I'm Kathy and I will be the lecturer for this course, which is running in September. I'm going to take you very briefly through the outline of the course in some detail. Hello and welcome to the open evening for GDPR for Business. I'm going to give you a very brief overview of what this course will entail and who it's for and how it can be of use to anyone. So it is GDPR, it is very important. As we know, it has been in operation since 2018 and it has affected the way all of us have to conduct business in terms of how we manage the data of our citizens. This course is aimed to provide you with the know-how of how to implement it yourself within your own organization. So every type of business, no matter what its size, they all hold personal data. So the idea here is that you will learn Hello and welcome to the open evening for GDPR for Business. I'm Kathy and I will be your lecturer for the course. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what the course entails. So GDPR has been with us since 2018, since it was implemented. Regardless of where you are within an organization, any type of business, it will hold personal data to some degree, regardless of how big or how small it is, whether it's a large tech company, the small sole trader, hairdresser, gym owner, regardless, we are all affected by GDPR. This course aims to be very practical, so you will learn how to ensure that you are GDPR compliant on a daily basis and that you can keep your data in a manner that is secure. You're keeping as little of it as possible, and you're making sure that you're not taking too much of information from data subjects on a daily basis, and you're just retaining it for as little as possible. So the idea is to give you a comprehensive overview of what the GDPR entails and what you have to do to ensure that you're compliant. It is a practical introduction. We aim to keep it very straightforward and jargon-free. We try to simplify it as much as possible and make sure that you come away from the course with a plan for your business. Now, whether it is your own business or whether you're moving into a role that involves GDPR within an organization, whether you're a data protection officer and you're already in that role, but you want to expand on your knowledge, it suits everyone, and it suits various different levels of knowledge. Whether you're a beginner with GDPR or you have an advanced knowledge of it, you will still learn from it, and you can still implement it and create a plan to implement it within your own organization. So we cover 5 basic elements of the GDPR. We look at week 1 at an overview, and this really looks at why we need GDPR, why it was needed in the first place, and we talk about big tech companies and how our data is literally everywhere. Then we look in week 1 at the basics of GDPR, the basic key terminology that we need to familiarize ourselves with. We look at the idea of general categories of data, ordinary data, and we look at special categories of data. We look at the 7 data management principles that every organization needs to follow. On week 2, we look at the obligations of a business, what paperwork you need to comply with. You need to know where your data is, how long you're keeping it for, who has access to it, who doesn't have access to it, what policies you have in place. Do you have a privacy policy on your website? Is it visible to the public? Is there a culture of compliance within your organization? How often do you train your staff, and so forth? Number 3, or week 3, we will look at the data subject rights. So here we're looking at us as citizens. What are our rights in relation to in relation to accessing our data? Week number 4, we talk about avoiding data breaches, and of course we can never fully avoid them, but how to have a robust system in place and a plan in place when there is a data breach, and what to do, and more importantly, what not to do in some circumstances. In week 5, we talk about creating an compliance implementation plan for your organization. This will form part of your assessment. It will also be something that you will take away from the course and you will be able to put into practice within your own organization. The course starts on the 20th of September, and I hope to see you there. Hello and welcome to the information session for GDPR for Business. This course will start on the 2nd of September 2022, and I am Kathy and I will be your lecturer for the duration of the course. It is a 5-week course. It's a very practical course for anybody, whether you are a beginner or you're moving into the area of data protection, or you already work in data protection and you want to update your knowledge, or you want to generally learn more about the area of data protection. It's also suitable for data protection officers who already have quite a substantial knowledge but want to keep in touch and keep updating what they already know. Every organization is affected by GDPR. It's been in place now since 2018, and it has drastically changed the way organizations have to look at and manage their data. This course aims to make this accessible for anyone. You will learn how to create a plan for your organization and how to ensure that your data is as safe as possible, and how to prevent a breach a GDPR breach within your organization. So the idea is that it is a very practical introduction. It is straightforward and it is as jargon-free as possible. So rather than it being technical and very, very legal, we've aimed to make it practical so that it's easy to understand and easy to implement, and you can take it away and implement it within your own organization. It is outlined. Our lectures are run over 5 weeks. They are 3 hours long and they run from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. It's a very informal lecture style. We have a PowerPoint every class. We go through the principles and requirements of GDPR. We have a lot of group sessions and chats, and you will learn as much from how each other have found implementing GDPR as you will from the class material. So we aim to make it a learning environment, one where you learn from one another as much as from what is written on my PowerPoint. We have 5 classes, as I said, and they are, number 1 will outline the overview of the GDPR. So here we talk about our rights to privacy and why we needed an updated system. And we talk about the big tech companies and the fact that our data is being harvested and it is all over the place. So the need for GDPR and why we had to have it. We also look at in class 1, we look at the 7 data management principles that every organization needs to follow in terms of taking data from a customer or a client or an employee. Number 2, or class 2, we look at the obligations of a business. So as an organization, as a data controller, what obligations do you have to comply with? And we think of managing your data, keeping it safe, thinking about how long you're going to keep it for, why you're taking it in the first place, why do you need it, who has access to it, are there policies and procedures in place, do you have a privacy policy on your website? If you do, should it be updated? Do you know where all of the data is within your organization? Can you map it out and know where it is, how you can retrieve it, how long it's kept for? This, of course, applies to our data that's digital, and think of your manual filing cabinet within an organization as well. Lecture 3, or class 3, we have the data subject rights. So this is for you and I as citizens, and our rights to our data, the right to access our data, the right to have it erased, to have it rectified, and so forth. And when we have those rights, and there are times when we may not have those rights, and we will look at that area and we will think about it within your own organization and whether you can or can't give a data subject access to their information. We will look, and in class 4, we will look at avoiding data breaches. Look at putting a plan in place for your organization. If there is a breach, do you know what to do? Do you have a policy? Do you know who to contact? Do you know when you don't need a data protection officer? Week 5, we'll talk about implementing compliance. So this is when the course starts to come together, and we'll talk about having a proactive approach to GDPR within an organization. So what do you already have in place, and what do you need to put in place within your organization? So some people will have a basic plan in place. Some people will have a comprehensive plan. For some of you, you'll be updating your plan. For some of you, you'll be starting from scratch, depending on where you're from, what background you come from. So this class will form the basis of your assignment, which is a compliance plan for your organization. And this is something that's very practical. It's not academic in any manner, so it will be easy to write it. It's very practical, and you're going to think of what you learned in the 4 weeks previous and how you need to implement it. and what's missing within your organization. What policies do you have in place? What policies do you need to put in place? Do you need to provide more training for staff? Do you need to have a better policy for if there's a data breach? Do you have a policy in place if somebody wants to get access to their data? Those are our 5 weeks. As I say, it's very friendly and informal. It's suitable for beginners. It's suitable for those with more advanced knowledge in GDPR. And